Takulandirani ku AMTV Malawi kuchimake kwa nkhani zenizeni. Ngati nkhani imeneyo kuno kulibe, dziwani kuti nkhani imeneyo ndi yabodza.
Here coming from you, would like to appreciate, and when you make errors like those, they are at times corrected by the people in the Hansard because they know the presiding officer who is seated on that particular day. And a lot of the times, it's a slip of the tongue, but coming from my senior in politics from Karonga Central, would like to appreciate that. Honorable Chairperson, are you rising with your report?
Yes, First Deputy Speaker.
What cluster is that?
This is a cluster for commissions, statutory corporations, and public appointments committees.
Chair, proceed to the podium. You have 20 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for granting me the opportunity to present this report on behalf of Cluster Number 9, the Cluster Committee on Commissions, Statutory Corporations, and Public Appointments on the budget estimates for the 2026-2027 financial year. This cluster was co-chaired by Honorable Ayuba James, MP, and myself. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the outset, I wish to express my gratitude to your office and the Parliamentary Secretariat for the support rendered during the meetings. I also extend appreciation to officials from the Ministry of Finance who supported the Cluster Committee and officials from offices, commissions, and statutory corporations who appeared before the committee and provided comprehensive submissions for consideration. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the Cluster Committee engaged with officials from various institutions, reviewing their budget's performance for the 2025-2026 financial year and examining their estimated allocations for the 2026-2027 financial year. These institutions play a critical role in governance, public administration, national planning, and protection of the constitutional rights, and they include the Department of Human Resource Management and Development, DHRMD, on vote 093, State Residences on vote 50, the Public-Private Partnership Commission, PPC, on vote 275, the National Statistical Office on vote 270, Office of the President and Cabinet on vote 090, the Malawi Human Rights Commission, MHRC, on vote 430, Office of the President on vote 220, Office of the Second Vice President on vote 241, National Assembly on vote 080, the Civil Service Commission on vote 097, Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets on vote 275, National Planning Commission on vote 277. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I now wish to present the committee's key findings as follows. Vote 460, Malawi Electoral Commission, MEC. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee noted that for the 2026-2027 financial year, the Malawi Electoral Commission has been allocated 23 billion, comprising 8.3 billion for personal emoluments and 15.6 billion for other recurrent transactions, ORT. This represents a significant reduction from the previous year, largely due to conclusion of national elections. The committee observed that ORT allocation of 15.6 billion is insufficient to cover critical activities such as by-elections, review of the 2025 general elections, voter registration, civic and voter education, of ballot papers. therefore recommends an upward revision of the budget to ensure the Commission to ensure that the Commission can fulfill its mandate effectively. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, specifically the ORT allocation of 10 billion for the elections management falls far short of the required 29.5 billion, which will compromise MEC's ability to conduct by-elections, inspect voter registration centers, and undertake post-mortem of the 2025 general elections. The cluster further recommends increasing the ORT for elections management to 29 billion, with the following breakdown: civic education, 3 billion, media and public relations, 3 billion, voter registration and inspection of voters' roll, 4 billion, technical support services and equipment, 500 million, printing of ballot papers, 3 billion, and post-mortem of 2025 general elections, 16 billion. Similarly, the ORT for management and support services of 5.643 billion is below the required 21 billion. The committee urges Treasury to revise this allocation to enable MEC discharge its constitutional mandate effectively. Vote 093, Department of Human Resource Management and Development, DHRMD. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, your cluster noted that the allocation to core functions in the 2026-2027 budget have been reduced by 36.39%, from 1.3 billion to 845 million kwacha. The committee noted that the reductions may affect planned public service reforms. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the cluster also observed the need for additional funding to support the National Remuneration Commission Bill and related legislation, upgrading of the Human Resource Management Information System to modern SAP Human Capital Management Platform, personal audit phase 2, development of a competency framework, and the training of HR officers in the decentralization service delivery. The committee recommends that Treasury should support these prioritized funding requirements to enhance public sector reform performance. On state residences, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee also engaged with a team from the state residences, and the recommendations have been forwarded to the Minister of Finance. Public-Private Partnership Commission, PPC. First Deputy Speaker, the committee noted that the Public-Private Partnership Commission has, in the 2026-2027 financial year, been allocated 1 billion against the required 4.81 billion. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee noted that the public-private partnership remains significantly underfunded. This shortfall hampers the implementation of strategic projects, including the Shire Valley Transformation Program, staff housing at MAST, and other national development initiatives, as well as preparations to attract credible private investors. The Commission, however, is expected to cover a budget deficit of 3.8 billion from PPP transaction fees, proceeds from successful private investors, privatization, and other transaction revenues. The cluster, therefore, recommends that Treasury should provide an additional 2.5 billion to the Commission to enable implementation of its planned activities. The cluster further recommends that Treasury should allocate an additional 5 billion to support the capitalization and operationalization of the newly established Project Development Fund. Vote 276, National Statistical Office. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, NSO's 2026-2027 allocation is 3.76 billion, representing a 347 increase from the revised estimates, with the allocated budget split as follows: PE 1.4 billion, ORT 22.5 billion, and Development 2 is pegged at 1 billion. Development 1 is pegged at 8.75 billion. However, the vote requires an additional 9 billion to produce high-frequency statistical indicators, including census preparations, procure vehicles to replace the aging fleet. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, let me just bring this to your attention. The NSO is still using a fleet, some dated back in 2009, 15 years old, 10 years old, and some 9 years old. They also want to construct a dedicated NSO building over the next 2 to 3 years. The Ministry of Finance should consider allocating additional resources to this vote to enable the National Statistics Office to carry out the planned survey, such as national accounts and balance of payment statistics, which are critical to the macroeconomic indicators, completion of ongoing projects, and implementation of mandated programs. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, with these observations and recommendations, I beg to move that the House notes the findings of the Cluster Committee on Commissions, Statutory Corporations, and Public Appointments for the 2026-2027 financial year. Vote 090, Office of the President and Cabinet. Mr. Speaker, the committee noted for the 2026-2027 financial year, the Office of President and Cabinet has been allocated 41.2 billion, representing 24.25 reduction from the previous 2025-2026 estimates. The allocation comprises of 29.2315768 for ORT, 10.978674738 for PE, and 1 billion for Development Part 1 and Part 2, specifically for the continuation of rehabilitation work of the Civil Service Supporting Club. The committee observed a significant reduction in the total ORT allocation. The committee noted that OPC has funding inadequacies in the following areas requiring additional financial resources. The most significant one is the shortfall of 5 billion for procurement and distribution of relief items for DODMA, shortfall of 150 million for mandatory expenses and capacity building, shortfall of 500 million for mandatory expenses, shortfall of motor vehicle for ministers, principal secretaries amounting to 5.3 billion, and shortfall of 135 million for the development and implementation of performance enforcement information system for automating performance contracts. The committee noted that OPC has experienced a decline in budgetary allocation over the past two financial years, dropping from 500 million to 341 million. This reduced allocation is only sufficient to cover mandatory operational costs. As such, the committee recommends that the Minister of Finance should consider increasing allocations to OPC. The committee observed that ORT allocation of 36.3 billion is insufficient to cover critical activities, including administration of government functions, maintenance of state residences, provision of logistical support to ministries and departments, and implementation of strategic programs. The committee therefore recommends an upward revision to ensure the office can operate effectively. Specifically, the ORT for administration and support services, which is pegged at 15 billion, which falls short of the required 30 billion to cover maintenance of state residences, vehicle procurement, utility costs, and operational support for presidential and vice presidential functions. The committee recommends increasing ORT to 30 billion, with priority allocations for maintenance of state residences, vehicle procurement, and replacement of equipment. Vote 430, Malawi Human Rights Commission, MHRC. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee noted that for 2026-2025 financial year, Malawi Human Rights Commission has been allocated 2.8 billion, representing a 26.5% decrease from previous year's allocation of 3.81 billion. The allocation comprises of 1.2 billion for PE and 1.6 billion for other recurrent transactions. The committee observed that ORT allocation of 1.6 billion is inadequate to cover essential activities, including human rights investigations, public awareness campaigns, legal representations in ongoing cases, and monitoring of government compliance with constitutional human rights obligations. The committee further observed that without sufficient provision for legal fees, the Commission risks being overwhelmed by litigation costs arising from multiple ongoing cases. The committee noted that no funding has been provided for the implementation of Access to Information Act and Gender Equality Act, for which 600 million is required for effective implementation and enforcement. The committee noted that 600 million is required for the implementation of the two acts. The committee recommends that the Minister of Finance should consider allocating resources for implementation of the Information Act and the Gender Equality Act to enforce these laws effectively. The committee therefore recommends increasing the ORT allocation to 3.5 billion to enable the Commission to effectively carry out its constitutional mandate, including investigations, public education, legal representation, and monitoring of human rights compliance. Vote 240, Office of the Vice President. The first Deputy Speaker in 2026 financial year, the Office of the Vice President has been allocated 6.81 billion, with 1.498 billion for PE and 5316 for ORT. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee noted that majority of the budget, 3.93 billion, is allocated to management and support services, leaving limited resources for operation functions. PE was reduced due to staff relocation and contract terminations, and the office is yet to complete recruitment of new officers. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee further noted that the absence of treasury funding to the office for all external delegated functions, which necessitates use of ORT funds intended for other purposes. The committee noted that the Office of the Vice President requires an additional 2.4 billion for the rehabilitation of the Area 12 residences and procurement of 3 convoy vehicles, befitting ambulance for the use of the Vice President convoy, as the office is currently using a Land Cruiser ambulance. The committee recommends that Minister of Finance consider providing additional funding to enable the office to perform its functions effectively and procure essential vehicles, considering the importance of the office. Office of the Second Vice President. Vote 241. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, in the 2026-2025 financial year, the newly established Office of the Second Vice President, OSVP, has been allocated an estimated 4.15 billion, comprising of 150 million for PE and 4 billion for other recurrent transactions, up from the 1.499 billion at the mid-year review of 2025-2026. The committee noted that the office requires significant capital investment to support its operations and service delivery. Key allocations made to the office include 100 million for phase 2 office renovations to ensure a conducive working environment, address electrical faults, and enhance security. 856 million for motor vehicles, with an additional 1 billion requested for 5 convoy vehicles, including the VVIP ambulance, and 220 million for the office furniture and equipment. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee, however, noted that Office of the Vice President currently operates with limited vehicles, a basic ambulance, and incomplete security infrastructure. Additionally, the PE allocation is insufficient, falling below the forecast 657.5 million required for the 58 staff establishment, most of whom are already in post or being recruited. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee recommends that Minister of Finance provide additional resources to the Office of the Second Vice President to enable full operationalization. This should include funding for the procurement of convoy vehicles and VVIP ambulance, office furniture and equipment, and security enhancement befitting the office status. Additionally, the ministry should also consider the delegated duties assigned from the Office of the President when allocating resources and ensuring adequate PE funding to cover the staff establishment, thereby enabling the office to perform functions effectively and deliver services efficiently. Vote 080. Mr. Speaker, the committee also discussed vote 080 and recommendations were forwarded to the Minister of Finance and discussions are underway. Vote 097, Civil Service Commission. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, in 2026-2027 financial year, the Civil Service Commission has been allocated an estimated 1.82 billion, representing 32.39% increase from the revised 2025-2026 allocation of 1.37 billion. Of this, Mr. Speaker, 634.2 million is for PE and 1.18 billion is for ORT, reflecting a 50% increase in the ORT budget. The committee noted that 61.71% of the Commission's total allocation is dedicated to management and support services. It further observed significant increases in sub-programs under recruitment and disciplinary case management, with internal travel rising from 46.74 million to 272.95 million, and office supplies increasing from 12.02 million to 96.42 million. The Commission requires an additional 2.76 billion to effectively fulfill its mandate in the 2026-2027 financial year. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee also noted challenges facing the Civil Service Commission, and these include accumulated arrears amounting to 16 million for job advertisement, postal services, whole hiring, meal charges for security services, interviews, and motor vehicle insurance. Capacity to provide required services to the senior officers, such as fuel and airtime. The committee recommends that the Commission adopt online aptitude test and digital recruitment system in collaboration to the Department of Digitization and e-Government as a strategy to minimize the high costs associated with physical recruitment processes. The committee, however, noted that digitization remains unfunded due to Treasury not financing the program for the past 2 years. As such, the committee recommends that Treasury should consider allocating funding to digitization. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee further observed that 242 million has been allocated for recruitment despite the ongoing recruitment ban.
Chair, I don't know how many more.
Two more.
Two more.
Yeah. I'm about to finish, Mr. First Deputy Speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. The First Deputy Speaker, the committee further observed that 242 million has been allocated for recruitment despite the ongoing recruitment ban. The committee learned that certain recruitments such as foreign service officers, budget officers grade 1, tourism officer grade 2, and printer grade 1 have already been approved, and that additional recruitments may proceed once the ban is lifted. It is for this reason that resources have been allocated to this budget line. Vote 081, Public Officers Declarations. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, in 2026-2027 financial year, the Office of the Public Officers Declarations, ODPOD, has been allocated 241 billion, a 53.8% increase from the revised 2025-2026 allocation of 1.57 billion. However, despite having no deficit on PE, the vote faces ORT deficit of 1.9 billion. However, the committee noted ODPOD requires an additional 400 million to effectively fulfill its mandate. The committee noted that the office has no operational vehicle and requires at least 2 to effectively carry out its functions. Due to inadequate funding, ODPOD will be unable to implement several priority activities, including establishing 2 regional offices, conducting nationwide training and awareness on the online declaration system, orienting newly elected councillors, holding an additional parliamentary monitoring committee meeting, procurement office vehicles, and recruiting essential staff. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee further observed that the office continues to face significant challenges such as reduced funding, payment delays affecting timely service delivery, rising operational costs, limited career progression for staff, centralized operations that restrict access for stakeholders outside Lilongwe, and inadequate personnel. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee noted the introduction of the online declaration system is expected to reduce costs by minimizing district-level travel. The committee questioned the need to establish 2 physical regional offices during a transition towards digital submissions. ODPOD, however, indicated that maintaining some physical presence remains important for public access, advocating for a hybrid system. Nevertheless, the committee expressed concern that physical infrastructure expansion may not be cost-effective in the current digitization context. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee noted that the Commission has a financial resource gap of 2 billion to meet its critical obligations. The committee is of the view that National Planning Commission plays a critical role in the country's development. Therefore, the committee recommends the Ministry of Finance to consider providing the additional resources required to support its work. The committee strongly recommends that the Ministry of Finance should consider allocating additional resources to the Commission for the development of bankable value chains which can contribute to the country's GDP, upgrading of ICT infrastructure, procurement of vehicles, and upgrading of ICT facilities. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the committee noted that National Planning Commission is responsible for formulating development plans but does not implement them, relying instead on other stakeholders for execution. In this regard, the committee was of the view that the Minister of Finance should also consider allocating resources to institutions responsible for implementing various pillars of the MIP-1 to support the implementation of the MIP-1. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, in conclusion, the committee's scrutiny of the various votes revealed consistent financial pressures that continue to undermine the effective delivery of institutional mandates. Several stakeholders reported persistent delays in the disbursement of funds from Treasury, resulting in stalled activities, accumulation of arrears, and inability to undertake planned programs within the expected timelines. These challenges, coupled with continued funding gaps, rising operational costs, and constrained institutional capacity, point to the urgent need for predictable and adequate financing. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, with these few, if at all there are few, I beg to move that the House note the findings of the cluster on the commissions and statutory cooperation and public appointments. I thank you, Mr. First Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. I did allow you to extend your time that way because you were covering a lot of votes, and you've done a very good job to the votes. Congratulations, committee. We don't have enough time to call for another cluster, but is there a member that he would want to contribute to the debate on the budget? An honour member? Honour member who wants to take to the floor to contribute? Or the honourable member for Zimba South, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving the people of Zimba South to make contribution to the budget statement that was ably presented by the Minister of Finance. On the lighter note, Mr. Second Deputy Speaker, I'm sitting on seat number 1, and also Minister of Finance sitting on seat number 1, so we can talk the same language. Mr. Speaker, let me first thank the people of Zimba South for giving me this second chance that I can stand and represent them for the second time. It's not easy, but it took God that they can give me this mandate. Mr. Speaker, sir, looking at the budget statement that was ably presented, I wanted to highlight 2 to 3 issues that the Zimba South people are worried that were mentioned in the budget. Firstly, I'll go straight to Minister of Lands. The people of Zimba South were so happy when the Minister of Lands were presenting the ministerial statement concerning 10,000 houses. And this house was told that APM Kulukutamoyo has increased from 10,000 houses to 12,000 houses. But when we go through this budget, page number 112, it shows that you are still more sticking to the 10,000 houses, which Chakwera administration did. So I wanted the Minister of Finance to come out very clear. The people of Zimba South are very worried because at Mbangweni, the houses are at the roofing stage. And if you look at the budget which was presented, which has been included here, Chakwera government included 30 billion for the houses. But under this administration, it's only 16 billion that has been included. So Zimba South people, more especially people from Mbangweni, are very, very much worried that the houses that are under a roofing stage, they will not be finished, and the people better. Secondly, coming to sports, Ministry, through Ministry of Sports or through you, Mr. Second Deputy Speaker, you understand that Mbangweni United now qualified for a national division, and they're really interested to have Mzimba, which is being hosted by my brother there from Mzimba and Perekez. But we are very much interested into Mzimba Stadium to be completed. 95% was already done, but we are looking forward to the 5%. Unfortunately, when I go to the budgets, I need to declare here, I've gone to the budgets for sports, I've gone to the budget for local government, I've gone to the CDF, 65 billion that is going to be allocated for Mberwa. I can't see anywhere that money has been allocated for stadium, so that our young people from Mbangweni should be playing them at Mzimba Stadium. Right now, when we have qualified like this, when gender qualified, we are playing at Kasungu, which was not right. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to beg that the Minister of Finance should critically look at this. I understand Minister of Local Government visited this place, and we want that stadium done. That is the wish of the people. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me come straight to transport and public works. Let me for appointing my senior to be the Minister of Transport. And we need to thank this government, as Northerners, we need to thank this government for appointing people from North to hold Minister of Transport. Previously, it was Honorable Jacob Hala. Now this time around, it is my senior Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the things that I've noted throughout this budget, even though my brother there was celebrating, he was talking good about the Minister of Transport, Minister of Finance, you give us this ministry, but you paralyze us in terms of funding. If you look at the funding for gender Mbangweni Edingen Lord, which the former vice president of this nation, who is sitting there, is sitting on government side. But if you look on the budget statement, you'll find that the Mbangweni Edingen Road has been funded a typical zero. You government, you need to appreciate that former vice president can't just be supporting you without offering him something. You mean that Inkos Yamakos Mberwa receive a zero funding on his road where his house it is? Mr. Speaker, this is so pathetic for the people of Mberwa District Council, more especially the people around Mzimba South, Mzimba Southwest, even Mzimba Sorora, where my young brother comes from. And that young brother was voted under DPP ticket, but you have allocated a zero amount for gender Mbangweni Lord. That you have really collapsed his ministry, and you want him not to perform because you have not funded the road. First Deputy Speaker, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, if you look at where my brother Lump West comes from, there is only 4 billion that has been allocated.
Honour Member, there is a point of order from the Honour Member, the Minister of Local Government, because possibly he was mentioned. Honourable Minister of Local Government, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Deputy Speaker. Is it in order that whilst one has got a right to debate on their own constituency, but to insinuate something that divides development in the country on the basis of party lines? Yes, we know that we've got a member of parliament here supporting us. We know the right honourable, but that does not mean the members on the opposite side should not benefit. The insinuation that because they are supporting you, to the public is like those in the opposite side should not get development. That's number one. Number two, is it in order? We've got quite a number of senior chiefs in Malawi, paramount chiefs in Malawi, that because the paramount chief is getting zero, let him debate and advocate for that particular road going to the chief without mentioning. Otherwise, all the paramount chiefs will rise up and say, yes, as you give him, give us as well. Development doesn't work that way. I want you, Right Honourable Speaker, to look at it whether it is in order to be dividing this country one on the basis of political parties instead of development for all Malawians in Malawi. I submit.
Thank you very much. I would like to rule as follows. Honourable member for Zimba South, Malawi is one. And when we're sharing developments, Leader, can you do the needful in time extension? Can you please extend time for a few minutes so we can finish?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that time be extended in order to allow for the member holding the floor to exhaust his remaining minutes. I beg to move.
Honourable members, we have a motion on the floor for time extension to allow the honourable member to finish his submission. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Honourable member, I had a ruling to make on the please resume your seat. I would like to encourage the House, when we're thinking, let's think Malawi. We are Malawians. Honourable member, resume your seat. Resume your seat. The whole idea of us dividing ourselves on development should be something of the past, because we are all Malawians. Much as I wish the North, I'll be happy if the North develops, the South develops, the center of Malawi develops. We are all Malawians. I'd like to agree with the Honourable Minister of Local Government. There is indeed 5 billion to every constituency now. So we can maneuver 1 or 2 projects using the 5 billion to cover our constituencies while the ministries look at the bigger picture. That I wanted to rule that way. Honourable Member, please finalize your submission.
Mr. First Deputy Speaker, much obliged. But let the country know that Mzuzu, the new Mzuzu airport, which you talked too much, has only been funded at 500 million. That is not right, because you promised Malawians, you promised the people of the North that you build a new airport, but you have not allocated the money. Secondly, let me also highlight that Ilomba, you have only allocated the 4 million, and you allocated 17 billion went to Ilomba Road. This government is not considering the people of the North. And will not Mombera. You have given it to the Vice President, but you have not allocated any penny to this Mombera University until now. You people, you don't love us. You give us these jobs for us. You give us these jobs for us to enjoy. Once. And we will not stop talking about it because you are spreading us.
Honourable member. Several times, Cabinet has risen, explaining where some of the money will come from. And as a House, we have agreed that some of the money for some of these projects is off budget. And as a Parliament, we have agreed. Today, 3 times it has happened. Can I plead with you to specifically project and then get the responses? Or what we are submitting now will be responded to when the Honourable Minister of Finance makes his final statement. So can I guide you that way, Honourable Member?
So much. Let me finalize, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. If you look at the budget again, you go to houses based on his budget statement. The houses for people with albinism, Mr. Speaker, there is a 0 budget for the houses for people of albinism. What does that indicate, Mr. Speaker? What does that indicate? Tell me, what does that indicate for this government? What does that indicate towards the people of albinism?
You have one. In conclusion?
In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, people of Zimba South and people of all the people from North and all the people of albinism are trying to have houses, but this government has not allocated any money to them.
Thank you for your submission.
I thank you. I support the...
Thank you very much. I see leader rising.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Order, no members, order. The leader is holding the floor. Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, First Deputy Speaker. Just to array fears by my honorable colleague, particularly on issues to do with projects in the north, vis-a-vis what you call appointments. I would like to assure him and people of Mzimba, specifically Inkosi, Yamakosi, Mberwa, the 5th, that the road to Edingeni will be finished by this government. Perhaps he has not been to Mzimba of late. I do not want to speak for him. But if you drive on the road to Edingeni, 5 km before the Inkosi headquarters, there is a camp where a contractor who will be working on that road has already established the camp. That is to assure people of Mzimba, particularly those of Edingeni, that that road will be built. You may see no resources in the budget, but the able Minister of Finance did indicate that there will be money off the budget. So all roads that have not been mentioned in the budget will be provided for. I wanted to give him that comfort. Not only that, the road to Ilomba and Chitipa will be attended to in the same manner. So all roads that were commenced, irrespective of who commenced them, will be built. And that is what the President has guided us in government to do. We wanted the country to develop at the same time. I wanted to make that absolutely clear to all Malawians and indeed people of the North. That said, First Deputy Speaker, tomorrow, as we meet in the afternoon, we will continue with debate on the budget, and therefore the House is guided in that manner. I submit, First Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Leader, for that clarification. Honourable members, before I adjourn the House, I have a few announcements to make. Announcement is the Honourable Member for Nchisi North. He has misplaced his handset. It did not indicate whether it's an ITEL or a Techno. So anyone with a Techno ITEL next to you, please give him back. It is his treasure. The second announcement I would like to request all football and netball players to convene 6 a.m. tomorrow at the Bingu Stadium for training. And please, this message is coming from the most difficult player in the whole team with the longest signature, but he comes from Mulanje. His name is Santiago Samson Piri, Member of Parliament. So it has taken me energy to announce it because the signature I could not even notice. The next announcement comes from the chairperson of the Youth Caucus. Is inviting all young parliamentarians to an activity tomorrow at the Capitol Hotel in the morning at 9 o'clock. Honorable young parliamentarians, an emphasis is being made for us to be punctual. If you don't know the president for the Youth Caucus, his names are Honorable Jacob Kaumpawi. That's the name of the president for the Youth Caucus. I hope it was sanctioned by all the youth. So, honorable youth members of parliament, please attend that important function at the Capitol Hotel tomorrow morning. The final announcement, honorable colleagues, honorable members for Lilongwe City, the city, you can do better about the litters inside the city. You and your councillors have a role to play to understand that Lilongwe can also look clean, as other cities are trying very hard. So Lilongwe, coming from your chair here, all members of parliament from the city, please take it serious upon yourselves to make Malawi beautiful. You can contact the Beautify Malawi Trust if at your own peril to help you do that. My final announcement, honorable colleagues, is about a birthday celebration of a very important personality in the country. His Excellency, Dr. Bakili Muluzi Acheya, is celebrating his birthday today. And I would like to extend best wishes from this house to Acheya. So he gets, I know Blantyre is very far from all of us, but as he celebrates, know that we celebrate the milestones you have achieved, and we appreciate the works that you've done in the multi-party dispensation of this country. We appreciate your life. We would like God to add you more happy years. Happy birthday, Acheya. Happy birthday, Dr. Bakili Muluzi, the second president of this republic. Honour members, it is 17:12. I therefore adjourn proceedings to tomorrow, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. House adjourned.
Osaiwala kupanga subscribe ku channel ya AMTV Malawi.